This call is now being recorded.
Yes, good morning, everybody, all the students. In this session, we are going to talk, or rather, let us say, discuss something very interesting so far as students are concerned. They normally have this question that how long the answer should be written in examination. Every year, students keep on asking this question. So I thought of doing a kind of a literature review about this and try to quantify the answer with some numericals, rather than just giving some random answer, which normally most of the teachers do, give some random answer, or they say that, well, quality matters more than quantity, which is a very, again, a cliche kind of an answer, because if you ask what does the quality mean, how do you measure the quality, then again you can't quantify quality. Quality is very abstract thing, which becomes where it becomes very difficult to measure the quality also. No doubt the attempts are done to measure the quality also, and senior students are aware that we used to do workshops where we try to concentrate on the qualitative measures for the answer also. But this time today, we want to talk about how to quantify the answer, the length of the answer, the time duration, the marks, that matters a lot. Let me share a screen, a brief presentation that is prepared here. So quantifying the relation between marks, length, and the time duration in handwritten descriptive answers in English studies. So let us narrow down to English studies rather than going to science or commerce, because the nature of the subject will change the length of the answer, the marks, weightage, and also the duration, that it will keep on obviously changing. So let us see what we can see in this here. The context, as we have seen, is very clear. The context, these are the WhatsApp screenshots, which students keep on sending in different ways, that can you please guide me how to write answer in the best way? But it's not qualitative. It is how many pages for each answer. That is what the students are always worried about. Or 14 marks na questions ma ketla pages na answer lakhi sakai, athwa lakhwa જોઈએ. So how many? So that is what teachers keep on receiving the messages there. Okay? The context is how much am I supposed to write is the question which has troubled teachers everywhere in the world. It is not only that we here in Bhavnagar are troubled by this, but everywhere in the world this question has troubled the people. So it must be one of the most frequent questions students ask themselves when faced with a descriptive essay type handwritten answers in English literature examination. Tom Bennett, while writing for Cambridge Assessment Research Division, has observed this. I remember this question being asked by someone in the class nearly every time. Despite the ubiquity of the question, clear answers are hard to come by. Clear answers are so quantifying is a challenge for all the teachers. There are good reasons not to answer this question. First and foremost is the fact that the quality of an answer is not determined by the quantity of writing. Benton is observing that. It is quite true. Nobody disagrees with this point. For example, no published mark scheme for GSSEs will specify the amount that candidates are supposed to write, say amount, number of words to write, but rather will rightly point markers towards the skill the assessment is supposed to be measuring. For example, in the case of English literature, the extent to which candidates have identified the key features of the text they are studying and are able to communicate effectively, which becomes more important rather than the answer is lengthy or too short. So that we keep in mind. We do not disregard this observation when we try to quantify it. With these points in mind, it is understandable if teachers want to make sure the students' efforts are focused on producing a high quality answer to the question and not on meeting some arbitrary target in terms of how much to write, then we have to see something. So not at the cost of high quality answer, but still there are questions with students that still how much to write is a concern. And if teachers are worried to say that, well, how to answer this or what can be the possible answer, then we have to think little bit in this direction also. Quality matters the most, that is quite true, but there is in no way, there is a typo error there is in no way arguing against the overriding importance of high quality content. It is reasonable for students to want some guide to how much is expected in terms of length. Benton is observing in his research study. An older BBC bite-sized guide to English literature, GCSE, suggested that for a 45-minute examination, students might have a target of roughly 450 words, whilst also providing some more specific advice around time management and practice in structuring an essay. So now we come to know that yes, instructions are given about number of words also. In many exams, the instructions are given that this answer should be written in this many words. So then that length matters. Then that quantifying answer also matters if you are making these instructions to the students. Murray and Orii, they have done one study so far as automatic essay scoring is concerned. Automatic, not handwritten, but automatic typed answer. The relationship between the length of responses and the marks awarded to them has long been established within the field of automatic essay scoring. So when they go for artificial intelligence or the algorithm that they said, they obviously connect this point that the length of response and the marks. So longer the answer obviously gets more marks. That was some of the base on which Murray and Orii, when they prepare a program, that was there. So it means that this idea is already established within the field. It is already there that the length matters. To take one example, Murray and Orii describe their own attempts to build a statistical model to achieve accurate essay scoring as part of machine learning competition. But then it has its own problem. This was like not a standard model because the another study questioned or counter argued with this automatic essay scoring system. Perelman in 2014 wrote this: when the state of the art is counting words, assessing writing, and it objected to the previous study or previous system algorithm. So indeed, the extent to which automatic essay scoring algorithms can rely upon essay length has been criticized in research literature. So that is why it is longer, and if there is no quality, then what? Then also machine is giving marks, so it is criticized. For example, Perelman stated that automated essay scoring engines grossly and consistently overprivilege essay length. So machine engine is grossly and consistently overprivileging essay length in computing students' writing scores, showing that for the essays in this same competition, estimated scores from 7 commercial vendors of automatic essay scoring were far more strongly related to word counts than was the case when human marking was used. Well, it is fine, but I still there is no study, so we can only assume that still many teachers, many examiners, many students also think that length of the answer matters in the scoring. The student community at large, even teacher communities at large, do believe in this, even though there is no research to substantiate that argument here. So, but there was a problem found in this, that the length and this there. Okay, fine. So length, only length should not be the parameter because it may somewhere hamper the quality of writing also. But at the same time, no research on linking the length of handwritten answers with the grades is found, that if there is any connection or not. So Tom Benton is trying to explore that. Tom Benton is finding this gap and he is trying to fill this gap by his study. So what is the average speed of handwriting? Answers under typical exam condition. Under typical exam condition. So Wayne has studied two small studies. Two small studies are studied by Wayne, which is referred by Tom Benton in his literature review. So writing speed, what constitutes slow on investigation to determine the average writing speed of year 10 pupils. Then first study came down to the conclusion that around 14 to 18 words per minute. School children. And another study, the mean writing speed of year 10 students was 15 words per minute, and that speeds between 10 to 20 words per minute, were within the typical range. So some small studies about the school children which are done, which Wayne has reviewed, and that came around this figure. We have a range of like 14 to 20 words for the pupils, 10 years pupils, and their handwriting answers. Similar research published by PATOS, that is the Professional Association of Teachers of Students with Specific Learning Difficulties, shows that in a 20-minute free writing task, we have given you two tasks, you all the students of PG, and that was about free writing and then under exam condition that was given. So this was this free writing task. Year 10 students write at an average of 16 words per minute, which rises to 17 words per minute for year 11 students. So we can say that, well, with the increasing age, the speed of writing also increases. So we have to go a little bit beyond these numbers when we think of postgraduate answers or postgraduate students in the age group of 2022. Other research shows that when 16-year-old students are simply copying text, they can write considerably even faster. Or now that was very confusing in our result. So copying the text is faster than this written in an exam condition. But you know that in your case, things have been reversed. Many of you were able to write more words in exam condition rather than in copying. At over 20 words per minute also they can reach, or over 30 words per minute also they can be, when writing as fast as possible. That was the work done by Barnett, Henderson, Scheib and Schulz, wherein these findings were found, which are reviewed by Tom Benton. So we are now getting that, well, some research is done about the length of the answer, and they are counting the words per minute, how it can be done. Previous research has shown that the length of response does have some association with achievement and also provided some norms around the possible writing speed. So even though we believe that quality matters, and most of the assessors, teachers, examiners say that, well, quality is more important than the quantity, but still the previous research has shown that length does have some association with achievement, scoring, better scoring also. Tom Benton's study, when he studied this, and his study, he studied 5,000 answer scripts, and he studied 5,000 answer scripts. A very interesting finding he is giving, the connection between the length of the answer and the scores, the achievement that the students are receiving. Nearly all responses of fewer than 200 words resulted in a grade U, suggesting that whilst very long answers are not necessary for a good mark, candidates must write enough. So it should be longer enough, if not very long, but longer enough to make sure that the examiner can recognize their knowledge at all. And let us see one table, which is the finding of Benton's study. It shows in this way that A plus grade students, A plus grade students and U students, if you see, then the grade and the word counts are matching. So A plus grade students have written much longer answer than the subsequent graded students, A, B, C, D or E. So it obviously says that even though there were only 6 out of 5,000 students, a number of candidates, only 605 wrote longer answers. But then when they wrote around 700 words, they got A plus also. Then A grade lesser than that, B lesser than that. So that's how this tabular format gives us an instruction that the length of answer does matter, reasonable length. And if it is very short, then there are chances that students can get lesser marks or lesser grades also. So out of all this literature review, various works that are that is being done, now let us see this. With this in mind, it would be a good advice for all candidates, even those who are not expecting to achieve the highest grades, to ensure that they write at least a significant number of pages in response to an English literature exam question allowing 30 minutes to write descriptive answers. So depending upon what is your overall time right now in your exam, it is 3 questions, 90 minutes, so 30 minutes for descriptive answer and how you write. But you have to write a significant number of pages if you want to score reasonably good marks, even if not very high grades. But the questions are still there. Exactly how long shall a student write? How many words shall an answer consist of? How many pages or lines shall be produced in writing descriptive answers? So now, after doing this literature review and seeing that, yes, there is a connection between the length of the answer, the number of words, and the grading that is happening, apart from qualitative writing of the answer, this also matters. This also matters along with qualitative analysis. Then we come down to this, exactly how long, how many words, how many pages and lines shall be produced in writing descriptive answers. So to quantify the relation among time, number of words and marks, we relied on this Tom Benton's study, which says that yes, there is a connection. Then we relied on guidelines prescribed by Board of Studies in English, University of Calcutta, that was in 2017-18, a very recent guidelines. And then we did one small study here, sample writings by the students of Department of English and what they have given as a response. So based on this 3, what we can call it, 2, one is the research, the other is the guideline, and the third is something that we have done here. Based on these 3 aspects, we are trying to narrow down to quantify this relation among time, number of words, and the marks. So University of Calcutta, it gave this guideline, says that, well, if there is a 16-mark questions, then the word limit should be 600 words. So this word limit for the answers for the honors paper, that is literature, English literature, BA paper, this guideline was given. So we have relied on this to come down to some sort of conclusion there. So that we will discuss that. But this is our one of the guidelines which we are relying to narrow down our observation. Then sample writing by 18 students that was given there, and the outcome of these students tells us roughly something like this, that in 30 minutes, the students were able to write 610 words, average. We are narrowing down to 600 words so that we can easily calculate the numbers. But it is coming down around 610 words that our students in an average were able to produce. We got 18 responses from the students, and that is this average. And in 30 minutes, students were able to write around 126 lines. 126 lines also they were able to write. This is average numbers. But well, coming down to this average also is very difficult. Very difficult. And if we again question the data that is given by students, it is still very problematic also. Reaching down to this golden mean is not still an easy task. For example, the students' responses, these are the responses given by the PG students. We find a very interesting range, which again, it's so wide that it really questions the final outcome also, because with this number of figure, it becomes very doubtful to rely on the golden mean also. So one student has written only like 32 lines. One student has written only 28 to 32 lines only in 30 minutes. Whereas another student has written 190 to 220 lines. Imagine the gap. So around 30 lines to more than 220 lines. So that is the range in which you have given the data. So this obviously needs to, so we have to remove this, the highest and the lowest. That is the only thing that right now we can do to remove the lowest and the highest range, and then try to come down to golden mean. Yeah. So that was one data. Another was 64 to 87, also is quite low. And then one student was able to write almost like 800 to 900 words. 800 to 900 words. That is beyond the 30 minutes. 800 to 900 words. So that was so that data was also very high, going beyond the range. So that also was not taken into consideration. So that was one of the challenging tasks that the data analysis was posing. Then when we are seeing this chart, this was the words in 30 minutes. So there were two write-ups were given, two write-ups. One, this is blue line. If you see, the blue line is about copied write-up. You have to copy and write. And the orange line is writing in exam condition. Now, well, it was hypothetically believed, and even in Tom Benton's observation, it came that when students write in exam condition, they might produce lesser words as compared to copying the thing. But here it was not so. It was not so. Like if you see first number, then 894 words, more words, 90 more words are written in exam condition, oral. So this is doubtful. So you have to check those write-ups. It was just randomly anything was written without thinking of any quality. So then it may happen. So when you are quality conscious in exam, then you have to think of the question, you have to frame, and then you have to write. So it has to decrease. So this data also is a bit doubtful, where again we have to question this process, or rather we have given you to write at your home all these things. I think if we do it in classroom environment under supervision, then things may perhaps change. So that may perhaps be the task in a post-pandemic time, when we will assemble in the class, and then again we will carry out in this manner there. So this number of words, and then number of lines that are written also in a similar way, because the words are changing, so lines also are changing. This wide range, as we have told, from 30 to this many things. So even in the same age group, about 20, less than 25, around 20-25 age group, this range is alarming range. So this activity should be done under supervision. That is what we can conclude from these two charts, which we are seeing quite a large variety in the responses. But discarding the highest and the lowest, we came down to this, that in 30 minutes, the students were able to write around 610 words, and so 600 words, and around 126 lines. That is what we are narrowing down. So now we work on this. Now, taking this as a golden mean, now we try to give our recommendations, so final outcome and recommendations that we try to. So our findings have limitations also, and with those limitations, keeping those things in mind, we try to recommend a few things here. Okay? So this chart we can make from all these observations, and we can say that 1 mark stands for 1 minute and 48 seconds. And now, why we have to see this 1 mark, 1 minute, and 1 word relation? Because the students' paper styles are changing very frequently nowadays. In Corona times, the time duration is changing. The paper style is also subsequently changing. So we used to have 100 marks, 3 hours exam, which is still there with the external students. It is still there. But with the semester students, now it is 70 marks. And sometimes in some university, 3 hours. In some universities, 2.5 hours. In some 2 hours. So even if the marks are 70, sometimes 70 marks are 5 questions. Sometimes there are 4 questions. So that also is varying. So how to narrow down all these things? We can try to see mark and minute and the word connection. So whether it is because number of questions, time duration, everything is different in various universities also. And then your paper style also changed suddenly to 90 minutes, and you were supposed to write only 3 questions. So out of 5, it narrowed down to 3 questions only. So from 2.5 hours to 1.5 hour time also. So looking at this changing patterns, we try to see that, let us see 1 mark is equal to this. And from where are we getting this figure, 1 minute 48 seconds, that is 108 seconds? It is coming from the standard model of 100 marks is equal to 180 minutes. From there we are bringing this data. The standard model, which is followed by the board exams, also by most of the universities or traditional courses, all were run, all exams were conducted in 3 hours, 100 marks. So that benchmark, I still not able to find from where this has come. So that research, I still need to see from where is it coming. But right now we are accepting that as a standard. Then 1 minute is equal to 20 words. That is coming from your writer. That is 600 words in 30 minutes. That is the golden mean that we have seen. So we are coming down to this golden mean. 1 minute, 20 words can be written. 1 mark in that way stands for 36 words. That way, the relation between 108 seconds that we have seen here. So 36 words, and 1 word almost takes 3 seconds to write. So that is how students can think of that what is their speed. 1 word, 3 seconds. A small word like in or the larger word with a very complex spelling. So the average comes down to 3 seconds. For the exam of 90 minutes, 3 questions for 14 marks each, total 42, what can be done? So for 14 marks, you have to write 504 words based on the parameters which we are quantifying in the above chart, 504 words. So what you are supposed to write in 30 minutes, 600 words according to this data. But for 14 marks, you have to write 504 words. So what you are saving, 96 words you are saving here. So it is your saving is almost of 288 seconds. When you write in 30 minutes for 14 marks, you save 288 seconds. That comes to 4 minutes and 48 seconds. Now, what is this time for? This time is to read the question, to frame your answer, and then to reread to remove the error. So that way you can use this time, 4 minutes and 48 seconds, to organize your answer. Many of you are doing rough work also on the last pages, that and rereading to remove the error. So for that, you save this in 14 marks there. If it is 7 marks, then 252 words. In 15 minutes, you are supposed to write 300 words, but 7 marks will stand for 252 words. So you are saving 144 seconds in that small short note also. And you get 2 minutes and 24 seconds to reread your answer to rectify the short notes there. 1 line normally stands to 4.5 words. That is again the lines that you have given. The students who have responded. So from student sample write-up, we say that 1 line is equal to, on an average, 4.5 words. We will see some of the images of answer papers to see that it is very difficult to say that everybody must be writing in 4 to 5 words. It is not possible. So 600 words comes down around 125 lines. That is 600 words is 1 long answer. So 1 long answer, for that you have to write around 125 lines. If you are seeing the length of your answer, then for long answer, you should write 125 lines. And for short note, 62.5 lines. 62.5 lines now. So now very quickly. So your length of your answer in terms of lines should be 125 for a long answer. That is for the 14 marks. And 62.5 for 7 marks of short note. That is the range that we are coming. And we have based on the chart, based on the parameter that are mentioned in the chart, that this should be the length of the answer. Now, what is the length of your answer paper? What is the length of your answer book? In your answer book that is given by university, there are 32 lines. There are 32 lines on a single page. So you can decide now from lines to how many pages that you have to think. So there are 32 lines in your answer book. And for 14 marks, that is 30 minutes, the range is from 504 to 600 words. That will come down to 105 to 125 lines. And that will be 4 to 5 pages. So long answer, you are supposed to write is 4 to 5 pages there. And for 7 marks, 2 to 2.5 pages. 2 to 2.5 pages for the short note. That is what we can see. If we see, we quantify the number of lines and other things also. Now we will not get exactly 32 lines multiplied by words. Everybody will not be writing all 32 lines exactly, because how students are writing, students writing keeps on varying, and nobody is writing all 32 lines. Rarely it is to be found that all, because you will start a question and you will leave a couple of lines. You will make a paragraph and then you will leave a couple of lines. You will draw some infographic and you will leave lots of lines in between. So nobody will ever write exact 32 lines. So you don't have to count one page is 32. So if 125 lines, then this many. You have to add a few more lines to that also. So adding that, it comes down to 4 to 5 or 2 to 2.5. Now see what kind of answers are written, how you utilize generally this. We have blurred these images, so the identity is not revealed. The images are blurred just to get an overview. Now you will see that how in the first one you find bulleted points are written. So only one word per line is written. It's only one word per line. So you have written 3, 4, 5 lines, but only 7 words. 7 words are in 5 lines. So you can see that the number of words are there, but lines are more. So again, you have to think that if you're writing in this way, then in the next paragraph, 2 words, then almost 3 lines are utilized. Then only 1 word and another 2 lines are utilized. And then again, 1 long word and 2, 3 lines are utilized. So lots of empty space you will find. So when you see 32 lines, exactly when you calculate how many pages, you will have to see how you are writing. What is your writing style and what exactly lines you are writing. And then in the first graph, you will see that rarely there is a sentence where 4 words are also written. In a line, hardly there are 3 words. Most of the words are 3. So your lines will increase. We are coming down to golden mean, that is 4.5. But you will find that not everybody is writing 4.5 words. In the second chart, you will see that a new margin is drawn by the student. It is a kind of a table. It's a table that is drawn. And if you see the words, then there's lots of empty space. Lots of empty spaces also left. Now in this capacity, number of pages has to increase. So if you say that 4 to 5 pages I have written, but if you are utilized in this way, then it may go to 7 to 8 pages also, because it may not cater the number of words. Number of words are less, number of pages are more there. Even in the last one, if you see, if you write a quote that is in the center, then again 2 to 3 words you are writing. 2 to 3 words are written. It is not even 4.5. So lines are more, but words are less. Words are less there, and you see that you begin question number 1A, and then see how many lines are used. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines are empty lines. So out of 32, exactly how many lines you might be utilizing will be much lesser when you write the answers. This first sample, this student is writing 1 line and 1 line is empty. Each and every line is empty, as if when you are starting a paragraph. So in that capacity, you will write, these are some of the ideas which students might have got from their teachers, that you write long answer, you will get more marks. That was what we were observing. Also, longer the answer, more marks. So how to make the answer long? By leaving more space in between. By leaving more spaces in between them. But you can leave the space, no problem about this. But still you have to see that, well, what are the exact lines that you have written? That matters more than what are the number of pages. Then in that case pages may increase. The second write-up, you can say that maximum page is utilized. Maximum page is utilized. There are only 2 lines empty. 2 lines empty only. So almost 30 lines, and at the bottom, 1 line is overlapped. So almost 31 lines are written. And number of words are also more. Per line, number of words are more. So in such write-up, it will come exactly to 4 to 5 pages. Such write-up comes down exactly around 4 at the end of the 4 or the beginning of the 5th. There the answer can end in long answer in this capacity. If it is not this and a sparse way that is written, then more pages obviously will be utilized when you write the things there. So I hope this several samples makes the point clear that when you think of the length of the answer and how do you calculate, again it will keep on changing from student to student, and their writing styles will matter more when you think of writing in a similar way. Okay? So this is not the conclusion. This is just the beginning to look in this way towards quantifying the length of the answer. We still need to scientifically investigate students' handwriting speed, correlation between normal writing and writing under duress of exam condition, a human capacity to write, handwrite lengthy descriptive answers, and correlation between marks and the time also needs to be still evaluated a lot in this thing. The works that we cited for these are some of the works which we referred for our literature review to come down to the conclusion that we have done here. So this is somewhere where we are trying to quantify the relation between the time duration, the marks, and the number of words that students are supposed to write in the essay type descriptive answer examinations. Okay. Now, if you have any doubt, questions, or any inputs, then it is open for the students. If you want to ask anything or any clarification or want to add anything from your experience, then also you can add. Yes, Rohit, yeah.
Sir, as you have said that this is just the beginning of our very new arena of research. So I would like to add that whenever this kind of research is conducted, the condition of students and in which environment they are sitting. So that is also to be seen. And whenever the question of writing by thinking arises, that how much we can elaborate our own answers, that also can be seen. And different learners, so there is also one more aspect like learner's ability, and the learner's ability, so that can also be seen. And another one is copy pasting the answer doesn't require much thinking. So based on my experience, I would like to say that copy pasting the answer was very easy, but so that's why I was able to write more words in that particular answer in 30 minutes. And in the second one, it was thinking and writing. So whenever even that question was my favorite one, and it was I was very much able to write much in that quantitatively also. So that also, whenever I wrote down that question in second time by sitting at home, it was not that much easy to write on my own. So thinking and writing becomes more difficult rather than the previous one.
Yes, quite true. That it has to be like this. Under the duress of exam and the exam condition, there is a little bit of nervousness also is there. So obviously that has to decrease the answer. So that has to be there, yeah, in our observation, that we have not found among all the write-ups. So that was a little bit surprising that students might have written freely because they knew that nobody is going to read this. So that pressure plays a vital role also in write-up. That's why we need to. So we can see some of the real-time, real answer books for the study that can help us in that. Even that was done in this Benton's study, and he found that it is still very difficult to say exactly how much time the students might have taken in writing the answer also. So some might have completed a little bit earlier, some might have taken more time. So those remains the limitations. Those remains the limitations of this study also. But still, we can, with those limitations, we can come down to some golden mean that this is the ideal number. And now, depending upon your style of writing, you can extend, and but you have to reach here. This is somewhere where you have to strive to reach. If you will not be able to reach here, then you may perhaps score lesser mark. That is, at least students can understand that, well, let me reach at this. Some quantifying figures are given in terms of words, lines, pages. So they try to reach at that level. Then it depends. People can go beyond that also. Yes, any other observations? Anybody would like to ask anything then? Any other questions? Like semester 2 students, because you are going to appear in the exam. Semester 4 students have already given the exam. Yeah. So for now for them, it is like when they will be teachers, students will be asking them that how long we should write. So they can do some such study with those students also. or they can use this data also to share with them that, well, this is how you can think of your write-up there. But this semester 2 students, if you have any doubt or any question, then you can ask, because your exams are in next week. Okay, Bhumika has put a question. One line and sentence, how do you differentiate between line and sentence? Normally sentence, if you define the word, it is a grammatical word. Sentence is a grammar. Sentence has its own definition. But one sentence can be written in 5 lines also, or one sentence can be written in 20 pages also. If you open the novel written by Jeet Thail, Narcopolis, so it is one of the very longest beginning. One sentence is so long that it goes in pages also. So sentence is like that. So line is line, that is printed line. I have shown the image also, that's why. By counting the number, that this is how you say lines. These are 32 lines. Yeah? Sentence is a different thing than a line. Yeah? It's not, we have not counted sentences because it depends upon students whether they are writing long sentences, simple sentences, short sentences. So that is not calculated. It is the lines in the notebook. Yes, I think that makes the point clear, Bhumika. Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah. Yes, anybody else, anything to ask or add to the observation that when you were writing, what you faced or how you came to the conclusion that you have done? In the chat also you can put if there are any questions or queries. Okay, so if there are no questions, then we can end our session here. Okay.
So,
yes. Yeah.
I would like to say something that one observation which I found during the write-up and during the writing in the environment of examination. So what I found is that the material which you have give us from which we have to write. So in the material there are so many big words. So the words are high loaded and the lengthy words. And when we are writing the answer in our own language, so the words or the choice of the words it may differ from person to person. That some can write in hard language or high loaded words, some may not write. So this difference also will make the result unreliable at some point of time.
Yeah, that is a good point. So if you are writing from an unseen paragraph, then it takes lots of time even if you are copying then. So if it is a seen non-paragraph which you have studied and then you are writing, then very quickly you will be writing. But if it is unseen paragraph, then some complex words, new words might be there, and some difficult words also were there in the articles. So that might have decreased your speed of writing also. That also is a good point that one has to keep in mind, that if it is a seen paragraph or an unseen paragraph, or the paragraph with difficult words from where the things are copied. So that also can be one of the variable which we have to keep in mind when we do the research for the similar write-ups also. And also similar writing is given, then it also matters. If students are picking up their own write-ups, then also some might have picked up very easy text, some might have gone for a difficult one. So maybe because of that also it may happen. So if the similar write-up is given to everybody in a classroom environment to copy and write, and then they are given one question and then they are told to write now the answer orally. Similar question, not even the separate question. So then again we can come down to the better conclusion. But these are the we can say limitations of the process of research, where we need to rectify this. But I don't think still even by doing that the result will come down the same. Perhaps the golden mean that we have received, that perhaps will not drastically change, very drastically change even if we do. But still our process also should be very sound, so that people do not question the conclusion. The conclusion is not questioned, so that process also has to be strong enough. Yeah. Yes, anybody else? Any other observations? Okay, then we can end our this session. If there is no other observations from anybody, then we are ending our session. Okay. For semester 2 students, we are going to have problem solving lectures subsequently. Today also madam will take Vaidehi madam, and then subsequently Hina madam, and we will have 2-3 days of the lectures for the problem solving. Okay?